Hey, studio owners. Today I am talking with Rachel Lindteigen of Etched Marketing, and boy, was it a great conversation. The wealth of information that she brings to us about search engine optimization, that's getting found on Google, and understanding how to get found by AI like ChatGPT and Gemini in search results can make massive changes in how we're getting found online for our studios. She gives us real practical tips on where to get started on our website and some awesome insight into marketing. I know you're going to enjoy this conversation. Make sure to bookmark it, save it, and please share it with a studio owner friend. We all can do this together. Marketing can be made easy, and I know that you're going to have a great time listening into Rachel. Let's get to it. Friends, today I am so excited. We have a special guest. We have Rachel Lindteigen from Etched Marketing, and she's joining us talking about SEO and how we can do better on our websites and just understanding how people are going about finding dance studios. So I want to welcome you today, Rachel. How are you?
I am great. How are you?
I'm doing so well. The weather has been
Good.
beautiful.
That's good. It's finally starting to cool down a little bit here. And by cool, I mean like upper 90s, low 100s. But it feels like there's promise and hope that we might get fall.
That's awesome. So, for our listeners, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your background and what you do to help other business owners?
Absolutely. So I've been in marketing as a marketing professional for a little over 20 years. I've worked with nonprofits, I've worked with special events, I've worked in agencies, and I've now been on my own for going on 9 years where I work with small business owners. So I take all the strategies that we used in the corporate world and I break them down and make them understandable for people like you and I are now. We're small business owners, we're entrepreneurs, we're really good at what we do, but maybe I went to school for marketing, but maybe you didn't. Maybe the
Right.
person listening didn't. And so it's my job to help you understand how to grow your business. And I take all the same strategies and tactics that we used in the corporate world, especially what I learned at the agency, where I had the chance to work with some of the biggest brands out there. I ran the Scottsdale, Arizona office, but I was also based out of Manhattan. So I've literally gone to meetings on Madison Avenue. I've worked with some of the biggest brands. Like you go to the mall, they're in there. You buy online, they're showing up in position number one for like backpacks. So it really was a very different world. And when I came back, I decided after I had my son, I didn't want to work and travel all the time. I wanted to be able to be more present in his life. So I did this. And what I saw initially was there was a lot of really bad advice out there for entrepreneurs. There
Yeah.
were a lot of people who were willing to take money, but were not doing the work or didn't understand what to do. So most of the entrepreneurs in my world at the time were getting incorrect information and they were coming to me and asking my friends and family, were coming to me and asking, Rachel, does this make sense? This is what my person is saying to do. And I'm like, no, fire your person.
Ooh,
Like they don't know what they're talking about. You're going
yeah.
to get in so much trouble. So I ended up answering so many of those questions that it just got to the point it was like, I don't want to work with the big guys who they can hire any team.
Yeah.
I want to work with the small entrepreneur who's maybe like me, who's got a family and wants to be able to be there to drop their child off. That's why you and I met a few minutes later. I take my son to school in the mornings. And it was like, I'm not available at 8, but I can do 8:30 because
Yeah.
I have the most important job, and that's to drop him off at school.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's why I'm here doing what I'm doing now is to have that flexibility for my family and to help other people who want the same thing in their lives.
Before we actually started recording, you mentioned that you actually have a background in dance as well.
I do. I started when I was in kindergarten. I started back in the ballet tap and tumbling phase in
Yes.
like 1980. So it's been a while. I did that. I did ballet. Ballet was my love. Like I
Mm.
was really good at ballet and I loved it. I was in the Nutcracker a couple of times. I was a mouse. I was mortified the year I was a mouse. I hated it. There are no photos of me because I thought my costume was so ugly and
Aw.
was just that awkward age. I was in the
Yeah.
third grade. I did not want to be a mouse. I wanted a pretty costume. The next year, I got to be a party child. So I had a very beautiful dress, and it was
Mm,
much better.
yes.
It also led to my love of nutcrackers. I have a collection of nutcrackers that I bring out every holiday season. I have tons of them. My husband hates them, but I put them out in our dining room and it just makes me happy and I can't I'm just happy when I put them out. I danced all the way through junior high. I stopped in high school, but then
Yeah.
as an adult, I've gone back many times because it is my grounding center, my happy place. So even today, I do Zumba, which it's
Mhm.
kind of a form of dance.
Yeah,
I've
right.
done a little bit of everything. I did swing. I even took some burlesque classes at one point,
Ooh,
which was
fun.
so fun and so different.
Yeah.
So we had an amazing dance scene in Phoenix when I lived there, and there were all sorts of fun classes for adults, belly dancing, all sorts of stuff. You
Oh,
name it,
that
I've
sounds
probably
awesome.
tried it.
That is so fun. So let's talk about the big picture. A lot of
Yeah.
studio owners listening, they know they should be doing more with marketing, but they're feeling just like overwhelmed with all the things going on. Could you start by just explaining why SEO matters for small business owners?
Absolutely. And the first thing I want to say is if you're feeling overwhelmed, take a deep breath. Okay.
Mm,
Because there's a ton of information coming at you as a studio owner. And if you're a studio owner, you're probably like me and you probably grew up dancing and you probably have a love of dance and you wanted to do this and teach the next generation. And you probably never bargained for all the things that go along with owning a business that is your passion. And so
yeah,
now you're looking at it and you're like, I've got to do accounting, I've got to do marketing, I've got to do HR, and it's a lot. So take a deep breath. Tell yourself it's okay. You don't have to be an expert. You have to know enough to protect yourself so that when you hire it out, you know that
yeah,
you're getting what you paid for. So, from a marketing perspective, the reason that SEO is so important is that it is how your business gets found online. As a small business owner, dance studio in one market, or maybe you have a couple of studios in nearby cities, you need local SEO. You need to really focus on getting your website found and in front of the right people in your area. If you don't do SEO, Google doesn't understand your website as well. And what we're now finding with AI search, with ChatGPT and Perplexity and all of those, they don't understand your site either because they're using the traditional Google SEO signals
yeah,
to understand the content on the website. Now, the way they read it is slightly different. Keywords matter for Google, they don't matter for AI. AI is more about the conversation, the words, the
oh,
phrasing on it. But your keywords are still important for Google because in Google, people are going to go search specific keywords. In this scenario, they're going to search for a dance studio in their location. They might search for classes for kids, they might search for classes for adults, but everything is going to come back to potentially the age, potentially the style of dance, definitely dance studio, and definitely local area. So we
yeah,
need to optimize for those, meaning we need to have that information on our website in the places that Google will look because Google isn't looking at everything on your site. Google is looking in specific places.
right.
So things like having the right title tag and the right meta description, targeting the right keyword. Just because we want to rank for dance studio, I'm in Tucson. So let's say dance studio, Tucson, Arizona. Just because we want to rank for that doesn't mean that our website will rank. It's
Yeah,
going to be very dependent upon our niche, the competition in the area. The good news is with dance studios, most of us are going to have fairly similar lower authority sites. We're small, we're niche, all of that. But we still need to look at that. So we're going to use it in the places Google is going to look. So the title tag, the meta description, the copy, the header tags, the image file names. I have a freebie that walks through what all of these are
okay.
and how to format them so we can share that so that you don't have to like try to be driving your kid to school right now listening to this and trying to write it down at the stoplight. Don't worry about that.
Yes.
There's a freebie that's got all the
Just listen for
information
now. We'll
for you to
send it
make
to
it
you.
easier.
Love that. Um, so you gave some really good points. So now, if a studio owner, like maybe they only have an hour this week to work on marketing, what are some of the easiest SEO changes that they can make right now that will actually move the needle?
The first thing they can do is just make sure that their title tag and their meta description on their homepage are optimized. So your title tag and your meta description are what's going to show up in the Google search results when somebody is searching. So you want to think about that customer, that mom most likely is probably the one who is going to enroll the kids, because as a mom, I know I do all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So we want to think about her. What is she looking for? What words is she using? So we want to think about that and try to find the best keyword. I always recommend using keyword research tools. Ubersuggest is one that my students really like because it's user friendly. There's a couple free options. You can do a few searches a day free. I also really like Keywords Everywhere. It's actually when you can get it's a Google Chrome plugin, so I can do my keyword research right in Chrome.
Yeah.
I teach how to do that. Like I teach my students exactly how to do keyword research, but you want to look for it. You're probably leaning with something like dance studio in your city, most likely. So you want to write a title tag and a meta description. Then you want to make sure that you have like information on your homepage as to what type of dance classes you have. Ultimately, if you really want to optimize your site, we want to have more. We want to have pages for specific dance styles, or we want to have the schedules and things. But just to get started,
Right.
let's make sure that you have a title tag and a meta description that are going to show up in the search results, because those are the invitation for that mom to even bother clicking on your site. That's what she's going to see first. So you don't see it on your website, but she sees it in Google, and that's what's going to help her decide whether or not she's even going to look at your class.
Yeah. One thing that I noticed that a lot of studios are missing is just their location. You can't find it on their Facebook, they can't find it on their website. So people have a hard time understanding where your studio is located. Is
Yeah.
that something that would actually go into those tags as well?
Yeah, you could absolutely put like I'm in Tucson Metro, but I live in an area called Oro Valley. So if I'm searching for an activity for my son, I'm not searching for something that's a half an hour away from me. So I'm searching for activities in Oro Valley because I want something nearby. And your moms are going to be the same way. Let's be real, there are dance studios in every city and in every part of every city. Some are going to cater to different things. Maybe mom has a child she really wants to put in a competition team. And so she knows she wants a studio that does competition teams. I grew up in a studio that absolutely did not do that.
Yeah.
My teachers were ones who went to Juilliard and helped with the applications. And so we were a very serious dance studio and we do not do like there are different, they were scary too. I'm gonna be
Yeah.
real honest. One of them in particular scared the daylights out of me as a kid. But you want to think about what is it that your studio does? How do you differentiate yourself? And then where are you located? Have that contact information really easy and have that location information
Yeah.
really super easy for them to find, because you may be amazing, but if you're 30 or 45 minutes from home, she's probably not going to sign up there. So it would be better to get the mom who's looking for something on your end of town to
Yeah.
find you. So
Yeah.
yes, the location in your title tags and your either one, your title tag or your meta description, you don't really need it in both, but maybe your northwest side of town, southeast side of town, whatever, you might include that.
Okay.
Southeast Cedar Rapids, northwest Tucson, whatever
Right.
works for you.
Okay. So the next thing I want to ask you about was Google Business Profile.
Yes.
Um, and we know SEO is powerful. So what should studios be doing with their Google Business Profile to get more visibility in their community?
So in many cases, your Google Business Profile is actually going to show up above your website in the search results, like for dance studios in your
Okay.
area.
Yeah.
So what you want to do is make sure, first of all, that you have verified. You've like verified ownership, you've claimed it and you've verified it. So you're going to have to go through the verification process. Do not pay somebody to do this for you. You do not need to. You can do it yourself. It is not hard. There's verification steps. Just go to your Google Business Profile. They've changed it. When
Yeah.
I did it years ago on mine, it was to have them mail me a postcard and then it had a code
Yeah.
on it and I had to respond. Now I think you take like a video of your studio, stuff
Hmm.
like that. Verify your listing, then optimize it. Those keywords again that we're talking about, you want to make sure that you're using those keywords in your description and in the information that you have on Google Business Profile, include a couple of photos, make sure that you've updated your hours, make sure your information is correct because many people, I know if I'm going somewhere, I almost always just pull up Google Maps and search for where I'm going because I want the directions. But if I need to call the nail salon, I don't go look up their website because their website is terrible. I go to Google. It's horrible and you can't find it
Yeah.
half the time.
Yeah.
So I go to Google Business Profile and I pull it up and I just click to call. I'm not alone in that. So make sure that your Google Business Profile is optimized. It's one of the things I teach students in my program is how to optimize it because if you are a local business, it's really important.
Right. So now, now that we've got kind of those tags, we've got the business
Yeah.
profile, let's really dig into how do we optimize our website. So, what are some tweaks that we can make on the home page or maybe the class pages that would make a big difference in how they show up?
So from an optimization standpoint for Google SEO, the most important thing is going to be the keyword. And the keyword, I can't tell you what keyword is right for your
Right.
site because the keyword is dependent upon the competition within your niche and specific information about your website, like your domain authority and how you rank and all of that. So you have to find the one that is the best fit for yours. And it's not necessarily the one with the most search volume, it's the one with the most search volume that you have the best chance of ranking for. Because if you choose the wrong keyword, you can do everything that we're going to talk about right, and you will not get traffic because you're on page 8. And
Okay.
nobody is going to page 8. You have to be on page 1, and you have to be towards the top of page 1 to rank. The other thing that we need to look at is, again, making sure we're choosing the right keyword, because if we choose a keyword that looks like we have a great chance of ranking for, but nobody uses,
Yeah.
cool. We're going to be at the top of page 1 all day long, but nobody's going to find us. So we
Mm,
want to be careful about that. We also want to make sure that we're thinking about consumer intent when we're choosing our keywords. We want to make sure that the keyword that somebody is searching is bringing them to a page that answers their question or gives them the information that they're expecting, because if not, they're going to leave. So
right.
we really have to be very strategic. It is the most confusing part of SEO, but it's also the most important part. I spend a lot of time with my students on it, and I can always tell once it finally starts to click and they're like, "Okay, I think I understand now." And from there they can run, and it's a
Yeah.
rinse
Yeah.
and repeat process. But it's really wrapping your head around how it works and what you choose. So you get your keyword, you optimize, you use your keyword in all the places that Google is going to look for it. Like I said, that's the guide on the website. It's the beginner's guide to SEO. It's going to show you exactly what those are. There's a checklist, so we don't have to talk through all of them. But you're going to use it there. You're going to make sure it's in your copy. Then what you want to look at is doing the same thing on each page of your site,
Okay.
because Google is only going to show you a maximum of 2 times for any given keyword. So we want to make sure we're not using the same keyword. If we have 5 pages on our website, which is a pretty typical website, if we have 5 pages on our website and we use the same keyword on every page, we only have 2 chances of ranking, even though we have 5 pages of content. If
Okay.
we use 5 different keywords, now we have 5 chances of ranking. So we have more potential visibility. We also have more potential visibility within AI search because AI is going to search and crawl that page that we have as well. Now, for AI SEO, we're not worried about the keywords. Like I said, we're worried about the phrasing and the conversational tone and the formatting. So we
Okay.
want to take a look at those pages from both perspectives. Your traditional SEO, your headers, your copy, choosing keywords you can rank for, all of that is important to both. What's interesting is we're only seeing about a 25% chance of showing up in AI just because of being on page 1 in Google. So it's not a given. So I actually think that AI presents a really good opportunity
Hmm.
for small business owners. And what I'm seeing with my students that is amazing, because sometimes it can be hard to be super competitive as a small business owner. I
Yeah.
think dance studio owners are going to have a little bit more advantage here because there
Okay.
probably aren't as many. It's not as competitive a niche and it's so micro local.
Mhm. Mhm.
So it's actually really good for you as a studio owner. What I'm seeing with my students, and I have one in particular, she's a therapist in Atlanta, so, and she's in a suburb. So I feel like she's kind of similar to a dance studio owner in this area.
Yeah.
She's getting clients from Google and she's also getting them from ChatGPT. And she said what
Hmm.
she's seeing with ChatGPT with the handoff is they're going over and they're like searching, saying, I think I need to work with a therapist. This is what I want. I'm not quite sure what to look for. Sometimes ChatGPT will tell them, her location and say, this is somebody in your area who does this. Sometimes it'll just tell them, depending on their query, this is the type therapy you need. And then they take that and they go to Google and they search for that type therapy in their local area. And because she's optimized, she's popping up. Now, her website is doing amazing. She's had 81 new clients come in the last 5 months. She's averaging about 5,000 a month in revenue from her SEO work
Wow.
from those new clients, and that's going to continue to grow and grow and grow. So think about this real quick as a studio owner. What would 81 new students enrolled mean for you from a revenue standpoint?
Yeah.
Because this is the power of it. And the thing that's amazing is that we're not paying for ads. So
Right.
she's got that 27,000. Yes, she paid to learn how to do this with me. Like
Yeah.
she paid money. She paid about $1,500 to learn. She's made 27,000 back since she did that 5 months ago.
Yeah.
That's a really good return on investment.
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
yeah. And I
So,
have others who've made more than her.
yeah. So one of the things you mentioned that maybe some studio owners may not know, like what do you mean when you say like search competition?
Search competition just literally means who's showing up in the search results when somebody's searching with that keyword. So, like for the therapist, she also has to contend with things like Psychology Today. My realtors,
Yeah.
they're hyper local, but you know what? Realtor.com and Zillow and different big websites
Mhm.
show up for them. So as dance studio owners, you're probably pretty lucky because most of your competition is probably going to be local to you. It might be the community center, it might be the dance studio down the street, but you're probably not up against really big competitive websites. So you probably have a better chance of this working faster.
Mm.
Every website has what's called a domain authority. This
Okay.
is not a number given to us by Google. It is a number given to us by Moz. Moz is an SEO tool. It's one that the professional SEOs use. I used it at the agency. I used to love Moz. Now they've made some changes. I don't love them as much as I used to, but we still use them and we still want their domain authority. Domain authority is a scale of 1 to 100, and it tells us essentially how authoritative that site is thought to be in Google's eyes based on what we know about the Google ranking algorithm. Now, there are over 200 factors in the Google ranking algorithm. It's kind of like the McDonald's secret sauce. We don't know everything that goes in there, but we know it's the quality of your content, it's how people engage on your website, it's how many links are back to your website. It all boils down to the quality of your site.
Right.
Your What we generally see, it's not a given stated rule, but what we generally see is the sites with a higher domain authority are more likely to rank for a given keyword. So when we talk about niche competitiveness, it is dependent upon the other sites in your niche. I have a Montessori preschool in Houston, Texas, in the suburbs. I've worked with them for years. I feel it's kind of a similar example since it's
Right.
hyper local. They rank in position one for just about everything. We've been working together for 8 years. There's a reason they rank so high in everything because we've been doing this for a long time. They set the standard. They don't have to have a website that is anywhere near as authoritative as my therapist or I have I have an autism coach, a coach who works with parents with young adults with autism. The coach with the young adults with autism, her site has a domain authority of like 30, whereas the Montessori preschool has an authority of it's between 13 and 15. It kind of moves. So it's
Okay.
half as authoritative. So the Montessori preschool would not likely outrank the autism coach,
Mhm.
because her site is more competitive. But the Montessori preschool site is more competitive than the others in their niche.
Right.
And because they've been doing this for a long time and everything is done the right way, they get tons of traffic and leads from it. Now, the autism coach, she also gets tons of traffic and leads. She's made over $150,000 additional in the first 14 months from her one-on-one coaching alone
Wow.
because we got her to position number one for several keywords that are amazing for her business. Does that make sense to
Wow.
kind of how it works from
Yeah.
a niche perspective?
Yeah.
It's dependent on your niche. And until I dig in and I dig in with them and help them figure out like where they're at and kind of what we need based on their niche.
Right. Right. So we kind of touched on AI.
Mhm.
Are there things that we can do to set ourselves up so that we don't fall behind as search continues to evolve through AI answers?
Yeah. So this is something that is really important to understand, especially as a small business owner. AI search is not going away.
Right.
It's small today. It's growing exponentially and it's growing very quickly. We're at the point now that ChatGPT is the third most popular search engine, and it's only been around for a couple of years.
Yeah.
So Google is aware that it's a concern, it's a risk. That's why Google has brought out AI mode and AI overviews, and like Google's going very heavy in AI also. ChatGPT and Perplexity, people like better. There was a recent research study that
Hmm.
showed that people prefer the answers from AI over the traditional experience in Google or in Bing or Yahoo because it gives them an answer. It doesn't just give them a link where they have to go dig for more information.
Mm.
So for many
Yeah.
queries, they're just going to look at the AI overview. They're just going to go, talk to Chat GPT and find out what to do. How often do you hear people say, "Well, I'm going to ask Chat GPT about that"? It's become kind of like I'm going to Google that 15
Yes.
years ago. Today it's, well, I'm going to ask ChatGPT. So
Right.
we need to be there. The way that you're there as a business owner is by doing traditional SEO on your website so that those tools can both understand you so that the AI and traditional search engines can understand you. Then you need to do what we can't decide as an industry if we're calling it generative engine optimization, which I think sounds stupid, GEO, AI SEO, whatever. So nobody we don't agree.
Yeah.
So I just call it AI SEO. So then you need to do that, which is mainly formatting. It's making sure that like when you're writing a blog that you have it's easy to read, it's easy to scan, there's extra white space, there are extra header tags. Header tags are just the big wide text, like the bigger font that separates your information.
Okay.
It's really about that. And then it's about having the type content because the way the AI search engines work is they're large language models. And so they look for the next text that they expect to find. So they're not looking for the keyword, they're looking for that text string or that conversational piece or that phrase that they're expecting to find. And that's where they go kind of for the match. So
Okay.
it's interesting. It works
Yeah.
different in both scenarios. If you want to be more visible, you want to have more opportunities to be found. I'm going to say a word that may make you not be happy, but I want you to bear with me and listen and understand the importance of it. And I'm going to say the old school word of blog. And I know a lot of people don't want to hear that. They don't want to
Yeah.
write. And I
Yeah.
get, Rachel, I didn't go to journalism school. I don't like writing. I went to journalism school. I love writing. Not everybody does, and I get that. But your blog is how you exponentially grow your visibility. Because remember, we go back to that website, it had 5 chances of ranking.
Yeah.
If I blog every week, which is what I teach my students to do and what I do with my clients, that gives me 50 more chances of ranking. Because I always give us a break at the holidays. I'm not writing
Yes.
nobody cares. I'm not writing a new blog post the week of Christmas or New
Right.
Year's. Like
Right.
nobody's going to read it. Nobody cares. I'm also not going to release a podcast episode. So 50 a year. So by year one, I have 55 chances of being found. By year two, I have 105. By year three, I have 155. At some point, I'm going to get to the point where I have enough traffic. I don't
Yeah.
really need to write anything more.
Right.
And that's cool. That's where the autism coach is. She's like, I do I keep writing? Because I can't keep up. I've hired another coach. I've done this, I've done that. Like, do I keep writing more? Because I don't really need any more traffic. I was like, no,
Right.
you don't have to. You can
Wow.
update now and you can refresh. If there's something that's really important in your industry, go ahead and add it in. But it's that, think of it as the umbrella or the net that you're casting to help more people find you. The more content you have that is high quality, that's helpful, that provides value, that answers mom's questions when she's trying to think about where to send her kid for dance lessons,
Yeah.
the more opportunities you're going to have to be found by those search engines
Hmm.
and be shared. You want to partner with the chatbots and Google and Bing and Yahoo. And we don't worry much about Bing and Yahoo, but you know what? Some people still search them.
Yeah. Yeah. Before we started recording, we kind of talked about how there's some studios that are handing off their marketing to an outside agency. Um,
Hmm.
and the focus there seems to be on basically Facebook meta ads into a landing page.
Yep.
Um, but there's a gap there with just kind of overall strategy. Can you talk more about that and what the concern might
Yeah,
be?
absolutely. So I see this quite a bit, and some of my students are doing ads too. So we're talking about them and kind of looking at them. The first thing that I see, and you and I were talking a little bit about this back to school. I love dance, always have. I follow some different dance companies, I follow some different things like that. I started getting targeted ads for dance studios for fall enrollment, which is awesome. And I'd go to check them out and I'd look because my son has taken a few classes and it was like, oh, maybe he'd enjoy that again this year. So I looked and I'm like, they're in Ohio, they're in Texas, they're in Virginia.
Yeah.
They may be amazing, but I live in Arizona. I'm not going to an out of state dance studio. I mean, we probably all watch Dance Moms. I know there were some people who did that. That's not me. I
Yeah.
have a job. Like, I'm not going out of state for dance studio. But that's part of the breakdown is when someone else is doing your marketing for you, are they doing it right? Because in that scenario, they're not. They're wasting your money because I should not be seeing your ad. I am never going to be a potential customer. But because you don't know where they're sending it, you don't understand the Facebook ads interface, you maybe don't understand the targeting, you maybe don't know where to look to find out.
Yeah.
So they're just giving you this report that's like, we got 27 leads this week and it was this much money per lead, which is great, but how many of those people could have actually bought or would have actually bought from you? You
Mm-hmm.
may have gotten 27 or you got, 400 clicks. Cool. My click through rate might be good, but am I getting the right people?
Yeah.
That's the biggest breakdown I see with marketing, especially when we're handing it off to someone else before we understand we haven't protected ourselves. As
Mm.
an entrepreneur, your job is to protect yourself and your business because you're the one responsible for the bottom line. You need to understand enough. And like you were saying, you want them to be dangerous, just enough to be. I want them to know enough to know that the person that they are paying is doing their job because I've seen so many times where they're not. The other thing that's a little concerning when we're using tools like this and we're running them to landing pages and ads, from a marketing perspective, we need to be consistent across brands. Our brand needs to be consistent across channels.
Right.
The experience that somebody has when they come to that landing page from that ad, there should be a similar digital footprint, meaning the picture on the ad should tie to the picture on the landing page so that they know they've gotten to the right place.
Okay.
I also believe it's very important that the picture on the ad and the landing page align with the website because if they come back to the website at another time and it doesn't look at all the same,
Yeah.
then they're going to think maybe now they're confused. Maybe they remembered the wrong place. Maybe this isn't what they need.
Yeah.
So you really want to think about that. You want to have a consistent brand across all channels. And this is not at all SEO, it's just marketing in general. Marketing 101, you have to be where your person spends their time.
Yeah.
You have to have the right message, but you also have to have that consistency. If I find you on Instagram, I see you on YouTube, I see a landing page or an ad, I go to a website, I should be able to know that that is your dance studio in
Right.
whatever area it is.
Yeah. So I think you gave us a lot of really good information. And as you're saying that, I'm thinking like, oh my goodness, match your fonts and your colors and your
Yeah,
type of photos and things like
all of it.
that way you know that you're looking at the right brand.
Yeah, and
Um,
have brand guidelines. Take the time to put together a document that says, these are my fonts, these are my colors. Have the actual color numbers,
yeah.
because if you're like me and you're doing a lot of it in Canva, you can embed all that, you can build out your brand.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
sometimes it's really nice to hire somebody.
Yeah.
And so it's nice to be able to just send them that and
Yes.
say, this is what you need. These are the only things you are approved to use. These
Right.
colors, these fonts, even have something that talks about the type words you use and don't use so that they can start, if they're going to write for you, so they can start to really understand your brand voice. All of that matters.
Yeah. Yeah. So to kind of wrap up, for a studio owner who might feel like this is one more thing,
Yeah.
and perhaps you don't know this because you're not in the industry, a lot of people are actually feeling that this fall registration is lagging behind prior years, right? And they're trying to figure out what's going on with that, but um they're just kind of lost and they don't know what to do because they've just done the same thing year after year.
Hmm.
So what would be like something that you would offer to them, something you would say to them that would kind of give them some encouragement in this time?
Okay. So the reality is registration probably is lagging. You're probably not just feeling it,
Mm.
because across the board, things are down. I've worked with the Montessori preschool enough years to know we've had up years and down years.
Yeah, yeah.
It won't always be like this. Like, we were amazing in 2019. He was ready to hire more teachers and expand.
Mm.
And then 2020 happened and he
Right.
had to shutter and he had to close completely. And then things kind of came back, but then not everybody came back for childcare because a lot of the parents were then working from home. And so they were trying to do, and anybody who's ever tried to work from home with a child with them knows it
Whew.
sucks.
Yeah.
Like, please don't ever take me back to 2020. I love my son more than anything in this world, but please don't ever take me back to that world, because he
I
was
know.
4
That's
years
right.
old and I was used to having full-time childcare because I work.
Uh-huh.
It was not easy, but there's an ebb and a flow. This is a hard year.
Yeah.
It just is.
Yeah.
That's the reality. But don't let that stop you from trying.
Right.
Serve those people that do come, because what you want to remember
Mm.
is the world has gotten incredibly expensive.
Yes.
I texted my cousin the other day. I was walking the mall and I saw this beautiful pale pink waffle hoodie in the window at Lulu. And I was like, I love this thing. I'm going to go back when I'm done getting my steps in. I'm going to go back and look. It was $148 for a hoodie.
Wow.
And I bought it, even though it was crazy expensive and it was
Yeah.
stupid. And I told her, I'm like, this is stupid expensive, but it was beautiful and it was
Yeah.
good quality and it fit well. And I know that it'll last me for several years. And I also live in an area where I wear hoodies all winter. I don't wear winter coats much, but I wear hoodies all winter.
Yeah.
It was like, it took me that moment of like, oh my gosh, that is so much money. But then I bought it anyway, because do you know why? There was one left in each size and they'd only come in the day before. So if I
Mm.
didn't buy it, I was probably not going to get it. And I
Yeah.
really liked it and I wanted it. People are going to be willing to spend money on the things that matter. So, what you have to do as a small business owner in a rough economy is to provide exceptional service.
Yeah.
If you love on those people who come in and you take care of those kids and you build relationships with those parents, they're less likely to look at you as an extra. They're more
Yeah.
likely to look at you as something that just stays in the budget. Because I just did this with my son. He joined a youth theater production company.
Mm-hmm.
It's 3 grand to commit for the year. It is expensive.
Yeah.
And you know what? There are 80 some kids in that program, grades 4 through 8. So there are 80 some families in my local area who have said, yes, it's expensive, and yes, it's worth the money.
Yeah.
So, in a tough economy, how you care for your clients and how you love on them is very important. I always believe in under promise and over deliver.
Yeah.
Wow them, because the word of mouth is going to help you. Then, yes, we want to make sure that we've got our website optimized. We're doing those things. I want you to really focus on where your people come from. Do you truly need to spend those 20 hours a week on Instagram? Because we know if you're trying to make videos and you're doing edits and you're doing
Yes.
reels and you're chasing trends,
Yes.
yes, you're probably getting visibility, but is it turning into money?
Right.
So I want you to look at that and understand. I know we talked about looking at measuring the success. I want you to look at what am I doing and where is the money coming from?
Yeah.
Because in a tough economy, you don't have as much to invest in marketing, but I don't want you to make the fatal mistake of canceling it or not
Right.
doing anything or only relying on free channels. Free channels are great if they work.
Yeah.
Social media seems like it's great, but is it working? Within the entrepreneurial world right now, there's so much focus on Pinterest. And so I was talking to a client the other day, and I was walking, and she's been focused on Pinterest now for 3 months, and she took the course that everybody talks about. And
Yeah.
I've taken it, I've looked at it.
Yeah.
Pinterest did not work for me.
Yeah.
So she and I were talking about it, and she's looking and she's like, I've been doing this for 3 months and it's great. This is coming and this is coming, and I'm getting more visibility here. I'm like, okay, perfect. Let's look at your website traffic. What are you getting from Pinterest? Because she's doing 5 pins a day and she's paying someone to do it. So she's paying for
Wow.
150 pins
Okay.
a month to be created by her VA. So she's spending hundreds of dollars a month on her Pinterest strategy. She found she had had 8 visits to her website in 3 months. So she has spent thousands of dollars now and has had 8 visits and nobody signed up for her opt in.
Yeah.
So, yes, Pinterest on the surface looks like it's working great for her because her
Right.
Pinterest is up. Her
Yeah.
exposure, her visibility, her traffic is up there. It's not converting. And that's what I want you to look at as an entrepreneur is where is the money coming from? Because that's the only way you're going to scale your business. So if you're running Facebook ads, that's great. But make sure you understand how many of those people are converting because
Yes.
that's the most important metric.
Hmm.
And I know we're way off of SEO at this point, but I teach
Oh,
both. Like
this
I'm
is so good, by the way. I have to say, when you talked about that hoodie, I said, for all the women I have said, go ahead and raise your prices because you need to raise your prices.
yes,
People aren't choosing your studio for the price, it's the value
it's the value.
and
It's
what
the
they
experience.
see. Like you said, it was worth it because it
Yeah.
had the quality, it was what you wanted, it was right there. Yeah,
Well,
so
and
good.
even as a child, I went to, so when we first moved, we moved from Franklin, Tennessee to Cedar Rapids, Iowa when I was in the first grade. And so I started my dance in Franklin, which is a very expensive suburb of Nashville. So lessons were fairly expensive. We moved to Cedar Rapids. I went to the neighborhood studio the first year. It was much more affordable, but it wasn't the same level that my parents wanted for me. And it was actually somebody who worked for my dad who said, you need to put her over here,
Mm,
which was the more classic ballet. Like we had
yeah,
French lessons in each week. You could not talk. Your hair was in a bun. You were in your black leotard, your pink tights. Your ballet shoes had to have the ribbons on them and be tied around the ankle like you would be used to when you had your point shoes.
yeah.
If your hair came out of the bun, you had to leave and go back to the dressing room and start
Ooh.
over. Like there was no talking, there was nothing. It was not fun, but it was
Mm,
where I got the experience to be in the Nutcracker and to perform. And, they were training us to be ballerinas,
right.
and it was twice as expensive.
Hmm.
And my mom said it was the most expensive thing that we did when we were kids. And back in the day, I think she said it was like $75 a month in the 80s. Maybe it
That
was a
is high
quarter.
for
I
the
don't know. It was
80s.
a lot of
I'm like,
money.
that is definitely high.
It was a lot of money. And this was in the mid 80s.
Yeah,
But they paid it because it was the experience they wanted for me. And I will tell you to this day, some of those lessons and the way I carry myself definitely go back to my days there.
yeah,
So people will pay. I've raised my rates. I have to. We
yeah.
all have to, and it is okay to raise your rates. You're not helping yourself by being the least expensive in your area.
Right, right.
The least expensive and the most expensive generally are not a good place. Like from a marketing perspective, when we put together proposals at the agency, we would give them three options: the least expensive, the mid, and the most expensive. The mid was the one we expected them to take, and 90% of the time, that was the option they took.
Yeah.
So you have the others kind of for pricing, just to kind of, I can't think of the term right now, but just to anchor the price.
Yeah.
So in the market, be in the middle or the upper. Don't be the least expensive unless you really don't have the experience, or you don't have the facility. Like if your facility has holes in the floor, you're not able to be the most expensive.
Right.
But if you have a nice facility and you take care of it and you have trained teachers and professional, you can charge a little more and it's
Yeah.
okay. But you have to also have that better service.
Right.
Think
Right.
about the hoodie from Walmart versus the hoodie from Lulu.
Woo!
They're
No
not the same.
comparison.
There's no comparison. The quality, the stitching, the price, there's no comparison. So do you want to be Walmart or do you want to be Lulu? Do you want to be
Hmm.
Target or Nordstrom? Target and Nordstrom, I feel like so often are similar. But like who do you want to be?
Yeah.
Which brand do you want to be?
Yeah.
And then make sure your service matches your aspirational level.
Yeah. Mm. Such good bits in here. Oh my goodness. So,
I've been having fun. I'm working on a new program
yeah.
business owners for next year where we're going to be going through and like figuring all of this out and the marketing and what's working and what's not and the metrics. And so it's just been so fun to have a discussion about something more than just SEO because
Right.
I've been doing this since the late 90s.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like I'm ready to talk about some other things for sure.
Yeah. Definitely. So I was actually going to ask you if somebody wanted to learn more about you and what you do, and get in touch with you and your services, how do they find you?
So my website is etchedmarketing.com. And if you're interested in the freebies we've talked about, there's an AI SEO guide. There's also a traditional SEO guide. There's a podcast SEO guide. If you have a podcast and you want to learn how to grow it, all of those are found on the freebies tab. So it's just etchedmarketing.com/freebies. There is a 6-month program where we really focus on your website, your content strategy, your optimization so that we can get the right traffic to your site. So that's called Simple SEO Content, and that's a 6-month program. They can find information about that on the homepage. There's a new marketing one coming. I don't know what I'm calling it. I know what I'm
Isn't
teaching.
that
I know what we're
exciting?
doing. I know how long it is. I know what it costs. I don't know what the name is yet. So I'm
Yeah.
still working out that, but there will be one coming in Q1 that's all about how to put together the marketing for their business and how to unravel what they have now because so many, it's just kind of cobbled together and we're doing the best we can and we're hiring people, but we don't know if what they're doing is working. So we're going to figure all of that out as a group and like audit the marketing and then figure out where are the holes in the funnel and
Mm.
focus them in on what matters most to them first from a priority standpoint. So it's going to be really fun. And then I also do work with people one-on-one for either marketing coaching or done with you marketing services where you and I meet and we chat and we walk through and we figure out what we're doing. And I teach you how to do it if you don't want to be in a group, because not everybody wants to be in a group.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
costs more to have one-on-one attention, but some people, that's what they really want.
Yeah. That
So,
is so good. I can't wait. You got to let us know when your new program comes out in
yeah.
2026. I'm going to say thank you. Thank you. I know that this conversation is going to be so immensely valuable to our listeners. We're going to put the links to Rachel's website and the freebies on the show notes so that you can follow up. And again, thank you so much for joining us today. You're a wealth of information.
Thank you.